Welcome to another episode of Unfamiliar Territory. Welcome to episode 9. Listen, this podcast is fully a women talked podcast about sports. It's the point of view that we love to give, and it's the one that's missing the most.
Absolutely.
So this is your first time joining. We appreciate you
Welcome.
watching.
Welcome.
Yeah, and press that subscribe, like, turn the notifications on, and never miss another
Can
episode.
you introduce yourself?
You know what I'm
Follow
saying?
us.
Oh, hold up.
I'm sorry.
Hold up. If you see somebody with an icy mic around their neck,
Yo, I just peeped.
yeah, I can't sit by you. I gotta shoot separate because if I.
Why
Right,
are we
she
doing
got
this?
on-
Why are we starting like this?
I
We
thought
have
that joint
new
was a
people.
baby dolphin, like Dolph or
We
something.
have new people. Y'all
We
showing
have
off.
new people.
Y'all is showing off.
Hey yo,
Why
Yo.
y'all showing off
that
like
joint
this?
right there. is
She
crazy.
got new ice every episode, bro.
All
Can I
right.
have $1?
Amor Perry,
I got
real
the
name
same
Princess. I'm
bracelets.
JC. Listen, we gonna jump right into this episode.
You heard me,
'cause if I let 'em
Princess.
go, they
I
gonna
got
go.
the same bracelets.
I can't
Been
wait.
like,
wearing
nah.
this watch since
These are
20,
keepsakes.
17.
Keepsakes. Anyway,
Welcome to the pod. Meanwhile, as you can see, we like to start this off with a challenging question, and the question is, what's one bad habit you're trying to get rid of? I would like to say, I'm joking. I was about to say these two fools.
dang, she trying to get rid of us.
No, in reality, one bad habit I am trying to get rid of is the ability of not believing in self. Like, it's like I have like a lot of confidence,
Just questioning it.
but I always like question, like, and of course because the future is like so unknown, so it's always scary. And being an entrepreneur, trying to jump out there, put your stuff out there, put yourself out there, it's a very, very scary situation. But it's only if you think it's. I mean, it's not gonna sound. I'm not trying to even sound like overly religious with it. Like, it's scary, right? But the main thing everybody has been telling me, including you all, is do it afraid. And so, this podcast by itself is me doing it afraid because I'm a perfectionist at heart. So it's like I had to learn how to like get out of. It has to be perfect. It has to be right. Everything has to be in place before we can start. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And so, every day that we get to do this, I'm kind of like releasing one of those bad habits. So, that would be some bad habits y'all trying to get rid of. You know what I'm saying?
I had one, but it's definitely two.
Okay.
So for me, it would be, I'm disciplined in certain areas, but it's a lot of other areas that I would definitely like to be a lot more disciplined in. I think having the freedom now, not playing ball no more,
Yeah.
I kind of just be like, F it.
Yeah.
Legit.
I
Like,
get it.
I don't got to do it, whatever. But having that discipline and procrastination.
That's a big one.
Procrastination has always been something I dealt with, especially when it came to schoolwork, writing papers, 11 o'clock at night when it's due at midnight. I mean, that was some of your best work. That was some of the best work. But yeah, so yeah, discipline, procrastination, like kind of go hand in hand with me.
For me, I'm gonna say, just using my free time as time for myself.
That's real.
I'm legit busy. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 movies, the pod, trying to
Come on, Flex.
9 to 5.
All right, a
Trying,
whole
you know what I'm saying?
career.
Like doing my music thing.
What's the door down?
Having
Dog,
to
I'ma be weak.
maintain, spending time with my family, having to maintain spending time with the person I'm dealing with. I really don't have time. Like, I never really just sit and like spend time by myself unless I'm like driving. So
That's real.
that's it.
That's real.
Like,
Sometimes
I'm not down anything like
Yeah.
that, but it's just that like I'm always on the go. If I'm free, I'm with this person. I'm with my family. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm cramming everything after this, going to a studio session. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah.
Sometimes, do you feel like sometimes like because I'm going to be honest, like sometimes the best time is when I'm sitting in the car, I ride in silence.
Yeah,
I love riding in
So I was just
silence.
about to ask, like, do you feel like even though it's not the moment that you would ideally like look for, do you feel like when you're in your car that you do get that peace of mind?
Yeah, that's like my only time. Like my job is 50 minutes away from home. You know, like everything is a drive, so it's just like that's my time to really sit and like reflect on things or you know, just to figure out what I want to do.
I like it.
I'm not overwhelmed though, but
that's good.
I just don't get that time to give me a massage.
Hey, I mean, self-care.
Just gotta book it.
Yes, but self-care
do it,
is important.
Hey, like,
Self-care is important, and you know, the fact that you can identify that is a step, because a lot of people don't identify, like, and the fact that you know that you're not overwhelmed. Like, most people are here and they're like, girl, you sound like you got too much going on, and you talking about you ain't overwhelmed, but you know you. So at least you know your limitations when you can be like, all right, cool. And I think that's something that people have to pick up on. Like, the limitations of life, you know, are what we put on ourselves. So, you know, if we put them there, then they'll stay there, they'll reside there, they'll live there as long as they need to, or we allow them to. So when you like leave them there, it's like, all right, cool. But it's like, all right, cool, I don't have no limits on life. Let me maneuver, but I know how to say no. And I think that's really, really, really dope. Okay. It's a lot of things happening in the WNBA these days.
It sure is.
It's a lot of things happening in women's sports overall at this point right now, okay?
So much.
As we dive into this conversation, I want to pull up something, but I have a question before we dive into what we're getting ready to talk about. As athletes, we've been talked about, scrutinized, received all types of sexism that you can think of. What is the most disrespectful thing y'all have ever heard by playing when you was playing ball? Let me tell you something. Go ahead if you got it, because I listen.
Well, you know, my name is Princess, so all throughout whatever school, basketball, it's always been something about my name. So I remember in high school we played against, I don't know, probably like Atherton or something, like one of the further schools. She's a princess. Like, I'm not gonna say what they was saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't know me. You feel me? Like, it was saying I was overrated, but I put 30. I just gotta say what I gotta say what I did.
It's a flex.
You know. Flex.
But
that's it. Like, it really ain't get to me. It's just something that constantly has been done.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have anything that was like truly disrespectful.
Rubbed you the wrong way.
I wouldn't say it rubbed me the wrong way, but one of my favorite coaches, actually, we was I think we was having practice on a Sunday in high school. I'll never forget it. I love him to death to this day. One of the best coaches in the PG County area too. So Coach Devon Williams, so like you, Coach D. We was doing some type of rebounding drill, bruh.
This just sound like it's going wrong.
That type of disrespect.
He was just like vicious with what he said.
Oh, okay.
We doing a rebound and drill. And I guess, you know, I thought I'd jump up for the ball to get the rebound. He was like, Paris, you don't even jump higher than the Sunday paper.
Oh.
Y'all know the Sunday paper, the smallest paper out the whole week.
Wait a minute.
Are you even walking?
I guess I would just hit the little.
Can you walk?
Did you have feet?
Are you stuck?
Did you have feet?
I was like,
you slide?
Like, bro, you sure? Like, I'm doing these agility joints after practice is over. Like, I kind of been, but okay, all right.
Look down like, did you see?
My heart. What'd you say, Princess? My heart. My heart.
How about you, Lacey?
Y'all know I had a disrespectful career. At this point.
Career. The whole thing.
The whole career was just terrible. Okay. Aside from being told I would only make a team if somebody got hurt and there was 7 people on the roster, that was disrespectful.
Yeah, that's vicious.
The main one thing that I remember that I hold close to my heart at all times is you'll never be good enough to touch the floor.
They'll never be good enough to coach you. Whoever said that.
You know?
Never good enough to coach.
Well, let's just go ahead and show how the enemy will make you footstools, because that same coach is banned from a particular university. And also and also had to watch me host on the same floor that he told me I'd never be good enough to touch for 6 years.
You ain't even have to touch it with ball, bro. I'm still on it though.
Bloop, bloop. So, I just wanted to, and there's a reason why I brought this question up. So most recently, the Connecticut Sun's head coach was fined $10,000 and suspended for 1 game because of his remarks that he made against Liz Cambridge, who is power forward for the Las Vegas Aces. And it's no secret, Liz is tall. And
that's a big girl.
Big, right? And I'm not saying it disrespectfully. I'm saying like 6'8", 215, something 218, something like that. So like Shorty is built for the game and can hoop like she's a dog. But the coach said something and a referee, overheard it and was like, "Come on, man. I mean, she 218. What you expect?" Something along the lines, and it was disrespectful. And
yeah, he was like, she 300 pounds. Yeah.
And so, with that being said, WNBA didn't take too much liking of it. Now let's put some more things into perspective. There's not a lot of female head coaches in the WNBA. It's only 12 teams. So I think there's 2 women coaches and like
rest men.
The
2
rest
African American males.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them are men.
Women.
So it's like out of the 12 teams, 2 of them have female head coaches, right? So it's which is not abnormal because most of us got coached by males coming up in the game, right? Yeah. So my thing has to go with how Liz Cambridge, handled the situation. She took the Instagram live. I really want to read what she said. She said, she's like, all facts. I am very proud of being a big beep. I'm gonna leave it like that. You know what I'm saying? She said, I will never let a man disrespect me ever, 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 especially a little white one. Woo,
she said that.
She said it.
I said what I said.
Cambridge said, adding later, don't ever try to disrespect me or another woman in the league. This was per ESPN.
You gotta come like that.
So my question becomes, how do we deal with sexism in the league, right? Matter of fact, let me rephrase this. How do we deal with the sexism that comes automatically, but let alone that we face now in the league? Like, I am just torn off of this. Like, this is a coach. This man is hired, gets a check by the league, full of women. Now, of course, the comments are going to come and say, like, okay, how does the WNBA plan on being respected if they can't take something saying about that? But okay, cool. Like, most dudes, they say what they say. Like, let's get it straight. We trash talk, right? We trash talk. But there's a line that gets crossed no matter what. Like, and there's a trash talking method to everything, right? As the athlete, but then she's still a woman. Mm-hmm. If that was your sister and that was said, how you acting? That's your wife, that's your mama, your godmama, your grandmother, your aunt, cousin, whatever it is. Because let's be honest, we hold mama, aunt, cousin, anything female, we hold them close. So my question to you all is, did she handle that situation right?
She handled it out of anger to me. Yeah. I really feel like you can feel that way. But due to the platform that you have, like, you cannot express it
just
that way.
Retaliate.
No matter what they said,
right?
Your response, keep your real response in private when it comes to situations like that, like what was said. But,
For me, I'm going to rewind it a little bit. So I agree with her as far as her response and everything. She should have just kind of took a couple deep breaths and then maybe responded. She didn't have to necessarily retaliate like that. But I personally didn't see it live. I just read about it, right? So to me,
you don't know her tone. You know her tone.
But even his tone when he said it, but I get her tone. Yeah. But even when the whole thing kind of came out, like, you a coach, you heated up in the middle of a game. You like, yo, she's 300 pounds. Like, How she get the
Like,
call?
yeah,
That's the way I took it.
That's
The way I took it. And it's like,
yeah.
you like done took this to a whole nother situation. Like, it's disrespect. Like I said, I didn't see it live. I need to watch it live maybe.
Facts.
But
both.
Because when we started talking about it and everything, it was just like, so this is a big deal because what?
That was the question.
But so
like,
do
why
you
is this such a big
understand
deal?
why her as a big woman is taking that personally?
I can get it.
You see
But
what they
I mean,
say
you
about
playing the
Lizzo?
game.
Like, you know,
I'm
she's
sure.
playing the game, but
I see what you're saying.
Bigger women.
It ain't
are
like he called her a
criticized
big
about
their
their size. Yeah, but still, she
He just said like, yo, she's like 300 pounds. Why we ain't getting the call?
It parallels.
Like,
okay, I'm glad you brought up Lizzo because it parallels because Akbar V, known as a rapper in ATL, she
Queen
was
Atlanta.
whole nother conversation. So she was saying that, you know, she doesn't like the disrespect that always comes against Lizzo because Lizzo is a beautiful woman who walks in her own path and is not paying attention. However, at the end of the day, how is it that people can still find time to think about this one person? One person. Now it's a lot of let me put this straight. There's a lot of people that have chronic illnesses, that have diseases.
You don't gotta eat 40 burgers to get that big.
You see what I'm saying? Like overweight, obesity. There's so many different things that happen. The issue that I have is that why is it that we have to figure out a way to defend, but then you get skinny and they like, why she lose all that weight? Now she look crazy. Yeah. She look scary. And that's what Akbar said. She was just like, yo, there's nothing that will ever please the eye of anybody.
Yeah, people always gonna have something to say
yourself.
regardless.
Yeah.
People will always have something to say. Like, people can probably pick through each of us sitting right here, right now. Like,
I know
nothing positive. You know what I mean? Like, people just got always, they feel like their opinions are valid.
Say what
like,
y'all want.
Like, I don't care about your opinions.
Say what y'all want, cause what?
Hello.
Show them the shirt.
I am enough.
You hear me?
Hello.
But just, I mean, not to talk about Lizzo though, but you know, she a little raunchy though. She raunchy, so you a little you.
Okay, so
it's a bit much at times.
Okay, so then let's say this.
Cardi B is raunchy too, like regardless, you know what I mean. So
okay, so let's say this. So Liz Cambridge being as tall as she is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now there are
to be 300.
Like
was she 6'7", 6'8"?
Okay, but can that be the same thing as our videos that are being shared on social media from twerking, even though they're fully clothed? Like the videos that are marketed and promoted is showing them doing a pregame warm-ups, and the main part of the recap is them twerking. Asia Wilson, that also is Liz Cambridge teammate.
Right.
All right, come on. Yep, right. Okay, cool. Then you got Coop. Coop do the same thing on the LA Sparks. First thing they do, hey, right? Okay, cool. Like, so it's like, what is it that we supposed to do? We can't be a big bit, right? I ain't even say it.
She ain't say it.
Bleep it out. Bleep it out.
I ain't say it.
B.I.
She can't be. She can't be a skinny Joe.
Remember Mama D.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she can't do. Like, what can she do? What can they be? What we got to be medium?
Look, man,
we medium. We in between. We in between meals. Like, what we doing?
I said what I said. People will always have an opinion or something to say about any and everything.
Yep.
But I get what you're saying. It's just really no real answer to it. Like, you just gotta.
Well, do you think,
tunnel vision? Forget it. Like,
so then my question becomes: do you think that the WNBA, because they did take the action of suspending him for one game and fining him $10,000, do you think that the WNBA was right for putting that stance immediately? Do you think it was necessary for the fine and the suspension? Then again, as you said, we don't know the tone. I needed to see it live.
Yeah, I gotta see the tone of how he was saying.
Right. And how, like, you know, he was directly talking to her. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, like, I'm over it. Like, bro,
right.
You deserve
but
that $10K.
But this would be like, that's just how I seen it.
Like,
yeah.
You're 300 pounds. You think you're gonna get the call?
So what if he would have said, "Oh, of course she gonna fall. She's 150 pounds."
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Then what?
Now I'm trying to figure out like what you saying about me.
Then what?
Right. I'm a shorty.
Then what?
Right. I'm trying to figure out what you saying about me. Like, so because I'm short. I mean,
I'm sure she has, her anger comes from her being this tall and her having to probably go through this her whole life. People are like, oh, you big as shit. Like,
you took the word.
So
right.
that's probably
I'm
what it is.
touching,
like people's own trauma.
I'm about to say.
That's real. I'm touching 6 feet, so I can only imagine like being 6'8", 6'5", well 6'3" and taller for a woman. Period. And you know, everywhere I go, everywhere.
I got friends that are tall.
It's hard to date.
I got friends that's
she's
tall.
in the WNBA. She has access to the NBA.
Yeah.
All them.
Most of them ain't looking at her. We talked about this in the Love and Basketball episode. Dumb ballers do not be looking for the female ballers unless you look like Ted Cooper or something like that, or Skylar. You know, you're not looking at the 6'8" center that you're trying to set up. Candace kind of lucked up. I mean, she didn't look up. But, Sheldon did. But you know what I mean? Like, how many NBA WNBA couples is it?
Somebody find me one.
Yeah.
They going to the
we do
club.
not have time today.
I don't. I don't.
You don't.
I don't. So
the ice. The ice jumped in her eye.
I cannot. And it brings me, but I'm glad y'all brought up like the taller players, because Candace Parker, who happens to be a taller player who plays for the Chicago Sky, right? She recently came out, and you brought this to our attention, out and said that, you know, the disrespect doesn't come from the NBA. It actually comes from the fans of the NBA or
people who don't even hoop.
Exactly. That don't even play the game.
Yeah. And always got the most to say.
Always have the most disrespect. They show the most hate, the most sexism. So my question is, now, okay, you have the coaches that's doing this craziness. You have you're getting fined. You know, you can't be tall, you can't be big, you can't be skinny, you can't be yourself. And then at the same time, you got these random people who have probably never played a game of basketball, let alone horse at this point. What in the world can you do? And then how are you supposed to respond to it? So is clapback season in full session at this point? I want to know.
I think what she said was a great way to respond to it. It's like, y'all thinking it's the NBA that's saying all this stuff about us, but it's not. It's y'all people out here that's sitting at home eating potato chips and drinking Slurpees on your couch that never even probably played a sport ever. Y'all have all these opinions, like I said earlier. So that was a way for her to respond, but
some of y'all can't even reach in y'all cabinets.
Facts. Y'all got the little step in y'all pantry.
Wait a minute. Our producer's looking at us like
oh,
sir.
They are. Y'all a little on the shorter side.
No offense, Darnell and Alexis. I haven't heard y'all criticize any. You know, we're not talking about y'all. Just the ones that
y'all are supportive. We talking about the non-supportive.
So then, okay. Then here's my question
Before you go on, I'm sorry, because I lost my thought and it just came back. But I think the best way to also respond to these like heavily opinionated comments is to just not respond. Like, why even give people the time of day? Right. True.
I mean, it's honestly canceling out what people have had to say, because now with Brittany Griner coming out dunking consistently at this point,
she did the other night.
You see what I'm saying?
Big Brittany.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you gotta say Big Brittany.
So at this point, it's like, all right, I'm just trying to find a way that we actually handle how do we deal with, like, we have all of these social injustice commercials, but when will we actually do like a infomercial about sexism? Because it lives. So
I want to talk about that.
I want to know when a sexism infomercial will actually happen. I want to know.
Watch it happen next week.
Like, just because they took all this stuff, right? Because at the same token, like, you come around like, okay, the NBA is not fully disrespecting us, right? Like, I much love to Candace Parker being on, TNT and Inside the NBA. You know, I love it, and people actually look for Candace to be on TNT on Inside the NBA, but instead I need them to also consider to look for her on the Chicago Sky too.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
She is cooking.
She's freaking going nuts.
She's a veteran, still cooking. Like, she's 23.
You know what I'm saying? And so, I just wish that, like, I'll give an example. I think that it's even sexist, even from, and y'all correct me, can it be sexist even if it's women on women? Because I gotta understand that. Right.
What do you mean?
Like,
it's a mentality though that's been kind of like that we've been embraced in our whole lives, and you don't even know that you might be doing. I could have did it to you. You could have did it to her, vice versa. So yeah.
So the thing that I hate the most is that there's the franchise. There's not franchise players, right? You know how like all these people like when people get introduced on playing these so they. Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies, right? Donovan Mitchell and the Utah Jazz.
The Washington Mystics versus the Chicago Sky.
Exactly.
Right.
There's nothing that promotes the player. So the reason why this player plays on this team is because every time you hear the team, you hear the player first. Right. So, now it's like, so even the subtle things, the small things that mean the most about how to help promote, how to help embrace, how to eliminate the sexism. You have people like, and I love the job that they do, but I have to use them. You have people like Marley Karen Rose, and you have people like Rachel Nichols who have these bumps. Bumps are, basically, let me put this in a communication way. Bumps are basically things that pop up on your screen. I'm trying to put this as plain as possible, and it's an infomercial, and you'll see like these little orange screens, and it'll show you all the little labels of the actual WNBA teams. And it'll just have the logos up there and it say, this is the next person. It's an infomercial. That's basically what it is. And so all of the bumps that actually pop up is be like, coming your way, another WNBA header. The Washington Mystics are taking on the Seattle Storm, and then followed by the Las Vegas Aces playing the Minnesota Lynx. Okay, cool. Who is on the team? Yeah. But then we come back, and it's playoff season for the NBA. I mean, all this energy. And then there's nobody like, so there's no conversation to even start to build around it. So it's like, while we're considering the sexism that happens with men, do we also need to be considering the conversation of the sexism that happens with women too? Or is it just a mentality, like you said, that's trained, that we just buy into?
It's women that think that other women can't do certain things.
Before them.
Period. Like I was with a friend, and like something happened with her car, and it was like two of us in there. Another girl, she a whole mechanic. So the girl mom was like, "Yeah, get a man to look at it." It's a whole. She told her,
that's a great example.
Female back here, that's a mechanic that can fix this car, but you talking about something? Go ahead, and get a man to do it.
Wow.
What? She right here.
Right. Yeah, like she's not supposed to know these things.
Yeah, like.
And I'll be honest, like my daddy taught me, like, listen, you gonna know a few things. You ain't gotta know everything, but you gonna know the basics. You gonna know how to change your oil.
Facts.
You gonna know how to measure your oil. You gonna know how to change your tire. You gonna, like, it's a whole lot of things you gonna know. You gonna know how to look at your sensors. You gonna know where everything go. Your oil. You gonna look at your windshield wipers and all the fluids, and you gonna know how to measure everything and all these different things. You gonna know all these different little pieces that you need to know in order. So when you pull up, you ain't gonna sound illiterate. And because most of the time, like, I mean, you can go to a car dealership. If a female walk in by herself, they are prancing and prowling.
Ready.
They ready.
They on tax.
Because they think you don't know.
Extra 200.
Shoot. A mechanic shop, let alone a dealership. You go in there, you got problems with your car.
They always
they be working. I hate taking my car to the shop for that reason alone.
And so it goes to a thing like, for me, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to just educate myself. Like, ain't nobody gonna have to show me. Let me just figure out what it is I need to know. If I gotta automatically keep doing this, if I gotta automatically keep taking my stuff to the I gotta keep going to the dealership. I gotta keep going to the mechanic. I got all these different things, right? Like, if it's something that's easily fixed, like I can change my filter, I can change the light bulb in my headlight, my tail light, all these different things. Like, I'm gonna just go ahead and do this. Like, there should not be an admission slip that come to your house and you like, what is this? Like, so at the end of the day, there are some things that women just need to know. There's also some things that we know we're not going to know. But there's one thing that is automatically agreed upon, and that is the respect level. The problem is there's levels to the respect. Now, I get it. Like, you're not going to just I'm not going to just flat out disrespect you. I'm not going to flat out disrespect you. I'm going to if I walk up to you, I'm just, hey, how you doing? Right? I'm just going to speak, whatever. I'm in a random room. I'm pull up to the room, and y'all could be doing this right now, and it's not even me. I'm not even a part of it. And I just be, at the end of it, how y'all doing? Yo, that was dope. Blah, blah, blah. Just speak. Like, natural conversation. Sometimes women don't even want to jump into the natural conversation. So it's like, while we even have the ability of having the WNBA around and having these conversations, is like, how do we go and say, okay, yeah, I see that we're finally getting this. We're finally getting this. We're finally getting this. However, we need to find a way to address this because these comments, they actually bother me. Like these comments that we see, like no matter how good we play, no matter how good the no look looks, no matter how good the dunk is, no matter how big she is, no matter how tall she is, no matter how short she is, no matter how light skinned she is, no matter how white she is, like these comments are starting to bother me. So how do we address this? Like we trying to fight the world, we taking on it. I get it with all this social injustice. I get it. But let's be honest. Like the sexism conversation can start in the WNBA. And that's just my take. I don't know a different platform that has the amount of heights that it has right now, aside from the U.S. national women's soccer team. That probably, but the main person behind that is Megan Rapinoe. The last thing that we recently talked about too is, the mental health part of all of this, right? Because it all ties into it, right? These, like, we avoid all the comments that we possibly can, right? Like you try to tune out. Sometimes you take social media breaks. You got people posting your content so that way you still stay relevant, like all of these different things, right? But the mental health aspect of all of this, hearing this, like, no matter how she probably handled that on social media, there's something that internally she probably had that flashback. You being knocking at 6 feet, has there ever been a moment that you felt like internally like, wow, is that real? Like, is that, because I'm shorter than both of y'all. So I don't know what it is to have to deal with taller question answer portions. So have any of you all had to ever deal with the factor of being called out or felt like, or had a negative attention span, I guess, however you want to say it, to whatever's been said about you before?
I would definitely say yes. There's probably been a handful of situations. I probably, as I got older, got to a point where I kind of let it go in one ear and out the other. When you're younger, you're not really secure within yourself. You might let things affect you a little bit more. But even though I've been tall, I've always been kind of heavy set. Like, and I used to be bigger, like in high school and going to college as a freshman and sophomore. And then I cut a lot of weight after that. But yeah, absolutely. I definitely experienced things and situations but you honestly just get to a point where you get secure within yourself and you good. And it probably still bothers you, but it don't matter. So then it really don't matter.
I would ask, like, because there's probably a person, a lady, a woman, a kid, whatever it is, that's probably listening to the pod.
Yeah.
What would you say to them? Like, where do they start? Because security is different, right, for everybody. But what's the main thing that has to happen in order for security to actually take place when it comes to, you hear these things, you hear these like, you're too tall, you're too big, or you're too, why are you so heavy up top? Why are you so small down? You see what I'm saying? Like, what are some things, or what is the one thing that you had to start with in order to make sure that happened?
I think you just really have to know who you are. Really, like, take time with yourself, and at the end of the day, you got to do what makes you happy. And like we've been talking about this whole episode, people will always have opinions. And so you just have to literally make a decision that you're not going to let outside opinions affect your life.
Love it.
And something that my mom and my godmother always say, I'm not going to say the exact word, but it's like, when you get tired of standing in the crap, you'll get out of it. So yeah, you hearing all these comments coming in, they might affect you even more because you probably feel that way about yourself.
Right.
So if you get tired of living and being a certain way, when you're really tired of it, you'll change it. Wow. So when you're ready to change it, you can do that. And so you can't change your height, but if you were a little on the heavier side like me, if you're a little on the heavier side, you're not really happy about it, do something about it. So I think that's a big part of that too. So
I'm going to say for me, I know my sister is 6'2", so I know, she used to get teased when she was younger. But now, you know what I'm saying? Like, she done blossomed to, I don't care. I'm
embrace
6'2",
all of it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But my number one thing is, like, beauty lies within.
Yeah.
This is just our outer shell, you know what I'm saying? So I just really feel like beauty lies within. I don't judge anybody by their size, you know what I'm saying? Any of that. I just go by your character for the most part. Like, I've always been like that.
And I think the main thing about it is too is I love how athletes are taking a stance in the mental health aspect. The richest, I want to say, was she the highest paid? Not richest, highest paid athlete, woman athlete this year, Naomi Osaka, right?
Oh yeah,
how much she make, bro?
55
million.
Yeah, little baby caking. Okay, she packing, right? And
how old is she, like 21?
I don't even think. Yeah, little baby just started taking shots legally. Like
little baby
just started taking shots legally. And most recently, you know, she's getting ready to compete. She getting ready to compete into a tennis match, and she had already put it out there. Yeah, I'm not doing a press conference because my mental health is more important. She most recently was just fined $15,000 because she's not going to take on the press conference.
That made me so sick when I saw it. That made me sick. How are you about to take on my hard-earned money that I've worked for and gotten on my own? And you're going to take my money because I don't want to do a press conference.
Let me tell you something that I love the most out of. Let me tell you something that I love the most out of. She said, I hope you give the money to a mental health charity.
If y'all going to take it from me.
If you going to take it.
I love it, though.
And I want to pull up, because there was a tweet that she put out.
It
was a tweet that she put out.
$15,000 of her money.
Here's the overall. Sports Center actually tweeted this out and said, Naomi Osaka has been fined $15,000 after skipping a mandatory news conference and can face stiffer punishment, including default from the tournament if she continues to avoid speaking to the media. Wait a minute.
Ridiculous. Why? What's the point?
Obligated.
I'm giving you all the media you need within my matches. Talk about it yourself.
Now, hold on. My question becomes,
they get a bigger check off of her being there. Anyway. That's why they're tripping.
But here's the question. Okay, she default from the tournament. Was there a default ever considered for Kyrie when he was?
I didn't hear about one.
When he was walking away from the press conferences and saying he ain't feel like it, he ain't no time, and he was just like, I'm gonna just take this $25,000 fine and y'all do whatever the hell y'all want to with it.
Which I do appreciate that Kyrie did it. But no, I ain't hear about it. I ain't hear about it.
I'm just curious.
I ain't hear about it.
Okay, so she came back and said, anger is a lack of understanding. Change makes people uncomfortable.
It does. That sure does.
Naomi Osaka, I have so much respect for you.
That's
because
awesome.
Money ain't everything, and you are definitely proven. Mm-hmm. Money ain't everything, but you need money for everything type situation, right? Yeah. Money ain't gonna always make you happy, and you learning it. You got $55 million. And you like, listen, my peace of mind. I just need my peace of mind at this point. I don't know a person in their right mind that's literally broke, breasted, and disgusted. Like, all right, well, you can give me that $55 million, and they probably try to trade that in for that peace of mind once they get it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you got people that's literally like, all I need is this. You get me this, and as soon as I get it, I'm gonna be fine. And then when they get it, they don't know what to do with it. Yeah. Then they still ain't got no peace of mind.
I was happy with $50 when I was in college.
You understand? They take me to cookout.
I got $50.
I used to get $50 a week.
You know how many cookout trays
Chipotle every Friday.
Chipotle? What is that? I was so happy when we got a cookout in college. I didn't know what to do. I used to have to figure out where my $5 was going. In the party or the cookout tray.
What party you was going to for $5?
What? Well, I ain't had to pay after a while. I became an on-campus host. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I became an on-campus host, so I ain't had to pay for nothing. I'm just saying. But at the end of the day, like, Naomi Osaka, you have our full support.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
And the fact that they trying to threaten you,
taking a stance.
Keep doing what you're doing, little boo.
Right.
Okay.
Do that.
Do what you do, boo boo. Hello.
You hear me?
Hello.
You hear me though. So if we had to put a pin in all of this with some happiness, listen. We appreciate you for watching episode 9, but guess what? Episode 10.
Man.
We are making it to episode 10. The next episode, which means you got to be on the lookout for it. We're super excited about it. We just want to take the time to say thank you for rocking out with us.
Thanks so much, y'all.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't wait for next week.
And most importantly, at all times, not only protect yourself, but protect your mental health.
Yeah.
Do that.
Do that.
Cheers with this empty cup.
I can't reach, but I'm a cheers anyway.